Hi everyone, welcome back to the very last monthly celebration video for the year 2019. I would really like to thank Nicole for inviting me to join her and Grace in this YouTube Hop collaboration that they had going. They have done this in past years if you are interested in going back and watching any of those videos. Again, all of the links to the other ladies' wonderful videos will be in the description box below. I've really had a lot of fun doing this collaboration with everyone. It really helped my channel grow, and I've gotten to know these ladies, which is two of the reasons which I started up YouTube. So I've really enjoyed doing it, and don't worry, we are already talking about what we are going to do for next year. So it won't be the same thing. It will be monthly, but it probably won't be just monthly celebrations. A couple things that I want to talk about. One, first I'll talk about my monthly celebration, this layout that I am working on. So I am following a sketch by Scrapbook Generations. It is one of their older sketches, but it was one from one of their sketchbooks, and so I cannot show you the actual sketch. And I love how this layout turns out. So these are pictures I am scrapbooking every year. When I tell people this, they think it's a little odd, but it's a tradition, and I've done it my entire life as far as I can remember, and it's something that I do with my kids. So when Santa Claus comes to our house, Santa Claus just brings one main gift and fills up the stockings. The rest of the gifts are from me, you know, mom and dad. So one thing that I do with those gifts that I buy are I put them in boxes. So for example, cereal boxes that are empty Amazon boxes that come, anything like that. So, and I write the name of whose present it is on the outside of that box and tape it up, and the kids are the ones that wrap those presents. My kids love wrapping presents, and so this basically gives them a chance to wrap their own presents. And there was one year when I started just wrapping all the presents, and they were actually kind of disappointed that they didn't get to help. So yes, my kids wrap their own presents for Christmas, but they love it. And I don't know about my daughter because, you know, she was a teenage daughter at one point, and as far as I know, though, most of the years they have not sneak peeked at all. I usually tape the boxes pretty good, and you can't see in them, so I'm pretty sure that they don't usually know what's in them. So here it is. I just brought a bunch of the boxes out one day, and we all sat down in the living room and just kind of had a fun time wrapping. And so that is a tradition that we do every year. I thought about scrapbooking Christmas photos, but when I saw this collection, I immediately knew that I wanted to use this collection. So this is, I think it's called Christmas Magic. I'm not exactly sure, but it is the new Doodlebug Christmas line for this year, 2019, and I got it, and I love it. And the reason I did these photos is you can see, first of all, you can see that pattern paper, and it has all those elves and the presents. And so I really felt like that was perfect because these guys are like my little elves wrapping presents, getting them ready for Christmas. So I thought it was perfect. And I'm going through here now, just taking out any of the die cut pieces. I just got this collection the other day, and so I haven't had time to, you know, put my ephemera pieces on the cardstock like I like to do, which I really, after going through this pile, I definitely like having my ephemera pieces on the cardstock pieces like I like to do, because this took forever to go through this pile. But I'm taking out anything that kind of says like elves, or I took out a couple things that said I've been naughty or nice or a couple like that, but I'm not sure. I don't remember how many of them actually end up on the layout. Oh, so the first package that I just went through was the Chit Chat package. So Doodlebug nowadays sells like Chit Chat packs, and a lot of it can be put on scrapbook pages. There are a few things, if you are a card maker, that can be put on cards as well. So I really like that because any of my scraps I'll make into cards. So this is the ephemera pack with the shapes. So now I'm going through this, and this is the part with the elves and the presents and all that. I will have a link below to all of these products if you are interested in purchasing any of them. Of course, you know me, I love Doodlebug, so I got as much as I could of this collection. Now, I only have 4 photos, but I am going to do a double page because I didn't want to cut the photos down a whole lot. And when I first start putting on the photos, I was a little disappointed because a lot of that elf pattern paper is going to be covered up, but in the end, I'm okay with it. I leave it the way it is. I did end up cutting these photos down, so I believe they are 3.5 by 5. I just kind of trimmed them up a little bit, and you can see here I've decided I'm going to go ahead and mount these photos so each one has like a little border, and I like that I did that as well because it kind of helps them stand out since that elf pattern paper is rather busy. So I'm going to scrapbook these photos, and the other thing that you probably can't see unless you look at the close-up photos. So since most of the presents come from mom and dad, quote unquote, I'm using little quote marks, my mom has always put the presents from, instead of writing, you know, to Tim from mom, to Mike from mom, to Tim from dad, to Mike from dad. Instead of doing that my entire life, she just kind of made it fun, and she always wrote to Heather from like New Kids on the Block because I was crazy about them when I was young. So that's just an example, but that's who she would write them from. And so I've continued on that tradition. So for example, this year I've written a couple tags like to Tim from Fortnite, or to Tim from, I'm trying to think, even from our cats, from Orangey and Blackie, and I do all kinds of different things. To my daughter from Fred Meyer, because she used to work there. Just all these kind of crazy, you know, fun places or people, and the kids absolutely love it. When I bring presents out that I've wrapped that they haven't gotten to wrap themselves, because there are some that they can't wrap, they will immediately start looking at the presents to see who they're from, and it's just it's one of my favorite traditions that we've ever done. So I do talk about that a little bit here in this layout as well when I do the journaling, and I will show you another part that kind of goes along with that as we go along with the layout. So I did want to take a moment and apologize because I know that I have not had any videos up lately, and I kind of wanted to just say there has been some family issues going on and some changes, and I just have not had any wanting to go in my scrap room. I'm sure a lot of you know that when hard times come along, scrapbooking is like the last thing you want to do. Some people probably makes you want to do it more because it's so helpful, and sometimes that can be the case, but for me, I was just dealing with too much. So I have not had any videos. So December is going to be very quiet on my channel. I did do this layout, and I'm starting another layout, but I'm just not going to promise anything for December. But I did want to say thank you to all of you who have stuck in there with me. I know there's a lot of comments that I haven't replied to, and some people who have asked for links to different items that I said, oh yeah, I'll get you that link, and then everything happened and I just never got those links, and I do apologize. So I have thought about it, and it's been a difficult time. Let's just put it that way. I was kind of happy that this video was due to go up though, because it got me back in my scrapbook room, and I've enjoyed being back in there. I think in playing with this collection and having this layout work so well really helped with that as well. But yeah, so I do apologize if I haven't replied to you. If there's something you want to know more about, please let me know. But in January, I do plan to get back onto a schedule. I have some new videos that I'm going to kind of do for you guys. And also I plan to hopefully get my cluster videos that many of you have been waiting almost a year for. I have not done those videos because I kind of felt, to be completely honest, I wasn't sure. Well, first of all, I mentioned it in summer, and I didn't want to do videos like that in the summer when my kids were home. There just wasn't enough quiet time in the house. And then Then I started to try to do a couple of them, and I wasn't liking it, and I wasn't sure how to do them. And so I've thought a little bit about it, and I think I finally figured out how to go about it, and we'll learn as we go with that one. So stick in there. So I will definitely be back in January. More 2-Minute Tuesdays, more What Is It Wednesdays, and more videos, more layouts for you guys. So again, thank you for sticking in there with me. Well, you can see now, let's talk back about the layout. So you can see I've kind of basically made my clusters. I just took a bunch of the elves. I really like the elves of the girl and the boy peeking out of the presents because those are just adorable, first of all. And it just kind of made it look like a playful thing. So that's why I wanted to put those elves on there, because my kids do have a lot of fun. They've become quite creative with their present wrapping, by the way. They make robots and different things. This year, we just wrapped some presents the other day, and my son took the part of the roll, you know, the wrapping that has the, you know, when you come to the end of the roll, it has like that cardboard piece. Well, a lot of rolls nowadays have it, so it's like almost like a roll of brown paper instead of just the solid cardboard roll. And he took a couple presents and he wrapped them, and I wrote to Mike from Amazon on one of the tags, and he wrapped one of his presents in that brown roll, which is, hey, great recycling, I thought too. And he actually even took a pen and drew a little Amazon smile line there, arrow. I'm sorry, my cat's in the background. He's freaking out because I'm in my bedroom and he can't come in at the moment because I'm doing this in here because everybody's home. So I wanted to have a quiet space, but apparently it's not going to be that quiet. But this is what I was talking about when I came back to the tag part. It's because it's this little tag. I originally was just going to tuck it behind something, but then I thought, you know, it might look kind of cute sticking out above that present. So the part that is on that present, I popped up with foam tape because that girl is also popped up with foam tape. And then the other end of the tag, I did just put flat with a glue dot I think I used. And originally I was also thinking I would just go ahead and put an enamel dot on the part where the circle is for the string, because those circles are kind of large and I just don't have a lot of ribbon. I just found that I didn't use my ribbon very much, so I got rid of most of it. I do probably have some that would work with this layout, but so what I used was my crochet twine. That's kind of a tongue twister. And I originally, so I have crochet twine that's just solid white, and then one that's kind of a little bit glittery, and I folded it over, and then I had it just wrapped, and I was just going to have it so the ends of the twine kind of just came out wherever they felt like. But then I decided I wasn't liking where the twine ends were kind of hanging out and where they were going, so I thought I would try to tie a bow, and I really liked the way it looked. It actually turned out really cute, and I did stick a tiny glue dot behind that so that the bow will kind of stay in place. And I thought that that went really well with the whole present wrapping and the whole. You can see that picture on the very end. On the very right hand side is a picture. My daughter was getting really good at making bows, and so she was really proud of that bow. And then also in the tag you can see it says to Kaylin from Orangey, which is my cat. So I thought that picture showed not only the fact that they were wrapping their own presents, but that it showed the tag and how we like to write different names on the tags. So when I was working on this cluster on this very right hand side, I thought I would go ahead and do the same thing with the tag, because again it represents the tags in the picture and all that. So I did decide to glue down this tag, and I think the last tag that I put on with some glue dots, because it kind of helped hold the bow in place as well. And you know me, I love my glue dots. So there was also this ephemera piece. Now this is a piece of ephemera I would always usually have a hard time using because, if you can tell, it's huge. But I love it. It went perfectly. And granted, there's no sleigh. We're not in any fun sleigh toy land, but we're just in the living room. But it worked out really good. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that sleigh down there. And so you can see that even though a lot of that elf paper does get covered up, which I'm a little bummed about, but the rest of the elements turn out really good, and I love it. So the other thing you might be able to notice is that in 3 of the clusters I did add a Christmas tree. I wanted to add the same Christmas tree in all 3, but there was only 2 in the ephemera pack, and at the moment I wasn't even thinking about the sticker sheet. Otherwise I would have maybe put one there. So I just took 2 of those different green trees and put those behind the sleigh. I figured the sleigh was kind of busy enough that you're not even going to notice. It's still a tree. It's still a Christmas tree. It will still work. And then here I'm playing around because I have the 2 tags on the other part. The one thing I really wished was that they had one of these tags that faced the opposite direction. So that's what I'm looking for here on the packaging, just to see if there was one facing the other direction so I could put it behind the sleigh. I really was trying to figure out, and looking now, I actually like the way that present looked just now, but I was trying to figure out something to put behind the sleigh so that those trees didn't look like they were floating. And oh, look at this really cute piece of patterned paper, by the way. On the other side is just plain tags, and this is just a really cute, they did a really good job with this collection. So anyways, I was looking for those tags because I have 2 of those tags on the right hand side. I really wanted to bring one of those tags over to the left hand side because I felt like it was going to really help bring your eye around the page, and looking at it now, it's kind of just blank there with just the 2. It's like it catches all your attention over there. And so I'm going to play around, still thinking about it, because like I said, there's only the tags that face that one direction, and I didn't like the way they were sticking out of the front of the sleigh, but I'm going to leave them there, and I'm going to play around quite a bit, and I do end up putting one there, but it's going to be under my journaling, so it ends up looking just fine. After I glued all this stuff down in all these clusters, I looked and I saw that I had bought these, what are they, Doodle Pops? I think they're called Doodle Pops. I don't usually buy the Doodle Pops, but I have been a little bit more lately. I don't know, they just add so much fun dimension. I tried putting them around the page because, again, they were elves, but then I decided that I have more pictures from different years of us wrapping the presents and the kids wrapping the presents, so I decided to go ahead and just save those. And I think it's because they were 2-dimensional since I have some foam tape underneath some of the elements already. The other ones that I was just trying from the Doodle Pops were higher, and it almost looked like they grabbed all the attention, and that's not what I wanted, so I decided not to use any of those. I am going to add this guy, even though he's on a reindeer and doesn't have any presents or anything. I thought that he really sat very well over there in that corner, and I love it. And my title is going to go next to that. So I have this last little cluster that I'm going to work with, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to put an elf in this cluster or some presents, and I do decide just to go with the present. I didn't have any more ephemera pieces of the elves holding the presents, I think, at least not one that was not too big for that area, or one that I hadn't already used, and so I decided just to go with the presents. And originally I had blue presents there, but since I had this little banner that says Christmas Traditions in the blue, I decided to swap the presents out for some red ones, and I just grabbed the first ones I saw. And then as I was going along, you might have seen these little stars sitting around on the layout, and I love these. I feel like they really just finish off the layout the best way possible. So I'm going to take my glue dots and glue them down with those, and I'm just kind of sprinkling those around. I feel like these really help draw your eye around the page as well. I'm going to put them in 3 different areas. They're kind of with the clusters, and some of them are kind of not with the clusters. You can kind of see the ones in the middle of the 2 pages are kind of on their own a little bit, but it's okay. And since I only had 2 in a couple different areas, I am going to take a couple of them off of the sticker sheet and add them so there is 3 in each area. And I just really like those stars. I don't know, I think they could be one of my favorite parts of this whole collection is those stars. So here I am again playing with that tag, trying to figure out this one, the word family on it. I had cut it earlier. You might have seen me. I trimmed it up, so maybe thinking if it wasn't so long, maybe it would be a little better, but I end up with a different one. I think the yellow was just too much too much yellow. I tried adding a little present behind it, but it just wasn't working. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to glue it down, and we will see. I'll just make it work. At this point, I think that I had known I was going to put my journaling down there, and so I figured that would just help fill in any kind of empty spot. So it's going to work out for that reason. And again, I'm just going to try my bow, tie my... That's a tongue twister for sure. So I'm just making the bows kind of small as well because I don't want them to be too overwhelmingly large. And then I trimmed them down, and this one, again, I think it's going to go flat and kind of a little bit tucked underneath the sled to try to help hide it just a tiny bit. So you can see, I like the way that the tags look, but if I could, I would definitely make one of those facing the other ways. I did think about adding maybe a word sticker over one of the words and just to make the tag go the other way, but then I thought it might possibly look too different from the other tags. So whatever, it is what it is. There's a tag on here, and like I said, I love the way this layout turned out. So this is basically the way this layout is going to go. I do have some Lizi Studio. Oh, I forgot, before I talk about that, I will talk about these. These are the enamel shapes, or they're sprinkles, I think they call them, that came with the kit, or coordinate with the kit. And I originally was going to put an enamel dot on each of the circles on these trees because I really like the way that looks, but I noticed when I started doing it, it was going to take up like almost all of the colors. And so I get some of them down, and I thought, you know, I'm not going to have enough for all of the trees, and that's really just going to use up a lot of the enamel dots, which I wasn't too worried about using up the enamel dots. I was more worried about not having enough. And so what I decided was to just put one or two on each of the circles and in the smallest size of the enamel dots, and then the rest of them I'm going to use my Nuvo drops in like the clear glitter, which in the close-up pictures at the end you can see how that turns out. I just added a little drop on each of the trees, and that way I could also do it on the trees on the very left-hand side, which is how I knew I wouldn't have enough of the enamel dots because of those trees on the left-hand side, and I didn't want to leave them without any enamel dots. So these are the Lizi Studio alphabets I was talking about. I got these a couple years ago, and they're kind of candy cane striped, and they worked really well. I was surprised that I had all the letters for this word. So I just wrote the word presents, and what I did, and you can again see in the still shot photos, was I just printed up the words "Time to Wrap," and then I put it over the word presents. So the title is "Time to Wrap Presents." So there you can see some of the enamel dots on the tree and some of the glitter Nuvo drops. And yeah, that is my layout. I had a lot of fun. It was nice getting back into my scrapbook room. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Thanks for joining us all year long. It has been so much fun, and I can't wait to see what we have in store for 2020. Even I don't know yet. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.